Good evening, everyone. I'm Taisha Sturdivant, an affordable housing and community development attorney here in Boston and clerk of the Family Aid Board of Directors. Welcome to Building Better Futures, an event to benefit homeless children. Like you, I'm here tonight because I am passionate about Family Aid's work to end child and family homelessness and our conviction to make sure that every child in Boston has a better, brighter future. My passion comes from my own lived experience of childhood homelessness. From an early age through my teen years, my family regularly struggled with housing stability due to Boston's high cost of living. We stayed in a shelter ill-equipped for families with children and lived in a small apartment with several relatives to stay afloat. We did what we needed to scrape by. It was not an easy life, but with support, encouragement, and a bit of personal tenacity, I overcame many obstacles to succeed. First in the Boston Public Schools, then Brandeis University, and Boston College Law School. While my determination certainly helped me achieve, I also recognize the critical role that family, friends, and organizations like Family Aid played in lifting me up throughout my formative years. Family Aid serves that same role for thousands of children and parents who tonight, right now, are experiencing what I experienced years ago. I hope you will join us in raising up the many children and their parents struggling with poverty right now, tonight. We have a vision, a track record, and a solid plan to help more of our neighbors facing homelessness. We need and welcome your help to make that vision and plan a reality. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Taisha. Your inspiring story delivers a message of hope to children and parents facing homelessness and to all of us. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison King from NBC 10 Boston, and I'm pleased to be here with you championing the life-changing mission, vision, and work of Family Aid. We are delighted to have so many of you joining us tonight and for the support of many corporate sponsors listed on our event site, particularly our presenting sponsor, Boston Capital, and its leaders, Jack Manning and Kevin Costello. I promise all of you an interesting and informative evening. Although we aren't together in person, we are coming together for the shared goal of making a positive difference in the lives of the children and parents experiencing homelessness. We thank you and honor this evening's awardees: Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, the Gergen family, Boston Medical Center's Dr. Catherine Gergen Barnett, and Harvard Kennedy School and CNN's David Gergen, and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, represented by Vice President for Community Health, Magnolia Contreras. You will hear from these four incredible award recipients about the goals they share with Family Aid to improve the lives of struggling families and to end family homelessness. We will also hear from Katie and Paul Buttenwieser, the visionary founders of the Family to Family Project, and from Family Aid staff who will share their personal stories of success and how their experiences drive them to help other children and parents through their work. On a personal note, my family and I have been Family Aid supporters for many years, and we couldn't be prouder to do so. Why? Well, as a reporter, I live in a world of cold, hard facts, and here they are. A recent report from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development shows that Boston, despite being the 21st largest city, has the third highest number of homeless children and parents. U.S. Department of Education reports put that number in the vicinity of 9,300 children and parents. According to MIT, another 100,000 are on the edge, living well below poverty. That is enough to fill Fenway Park 3 times over. These facts are sobering. The good news is that Family Aid is leading the charge to stop this rising tide of homelessness. In its most recent report to the federal government, the city of Boston singled out Family Aid's prevention programs as a critical element in reducing family homelessness by more than 26% in the last year. Their success in helping so many so well and so quickly garners my family's support and hopefully yours. To share more about the agency's work, I'm pleased to introduce Family Aid's president, Larry Siemens, who leads the agency with passion, focus, vision, and energy.
Thank you, Allison. For many of us watching tonight, The fact that Boston has the third highest number of homeless families may be surprising, and it may be because our conversations on homelessness typically focus on who and what we see on the street, adults, not children and their families. But as you've heard from Allison, child homelessness in our state and city is rampant, and its consequences will span decades. Homelessness can reroute a child's entire life. A homeless child today is 8 times more likely to become a homeless adult. They fall behind in school at higher rates and experience stress levels that are toxic to their long-term mental and physical health. It's staggering, really, how much can be traced back to this single moment of trauma. Now, the traditional approach to homelessness doesn't really serve children and parents well. First, most homeless interventions today are reactive, providing shelter only after a family loses their home and the damage to their children is done. Second, most approaches are designed for adults and not suited to the needs of children. Family Aid's approach is different. We partner with schools and hospitals to prevent family homelessness from happening in the first place, sparing children immeasurable harm. In cases where the loss of their home is inevitable, we surround children with services to minimize the damage. This innovative approach is safer for children and more financially effective. For the cost of rehousing one homeless family, we can prevent 20 children and parents from becoming homeless altogether. And by helping children avoid homelessness today, we can prevent decades of costly interventions tomorrow. Now, we know this approach works. Last year alone, we stabilized the lives of 3,000 children and parents and are doing so for 4,000 tonight. Our work has the support and partnership of some of our region's most trusted institutions. It's carried out by some of the best and brightest human service professionals, our staff who have personal and direct understandings of homelessness. Our approach has the support of many of you watching this event, including our dedicated board and supporters like Boston Capital's Jack Manning and Kevin Costello, and Family to Family project founders Katie and Paul Buttonwieser. And we need your help too. Together, let's not just improve Boston's rankings on family homelessness. Let's really work together to change our children's lives for the better. A leading organization that is helping us in that change is Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. DFCI isn't just the world's leader in cancer treatment and research. It is also a leading supporter of community organizations like Family Aid, who are advancing systemic solutions to society's most challenging problems. Earlier this year, Dana-Farber awarded Family Aid an aptly named Access to Services grant. With their support, we are leading a 4-year community-wide initiative to dramatically improve coordinated services for all children in Boston facing homelessness. Dana-Farber shares our vision to improve the lives of Boston's most vulnerable. In recognition of its leading role in the community, I am pleased and honored to award our annual Family Aid Community Impact Award to Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Accepting the award is Magnolia Contreras, Dana-Farber's Vice President for Community Health.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We are thrilled to accept this award. On behalf of Dana-Farber, our leadership, our board, we thank you for this honor. Several years ago, we conducted a community health needs assessment, and the findings demonstrated that Dana-Farber had a role to play in reducing the burden of housing in our community. This award affirms our commitment to doing that, and we thank you. Our partnership has a shared agenda, which is to solve entrenched social issues such as homelessness and cancer. Thank you for your commitment to thinking about a solution-oriented approach to addressing the homelessness and improving the quality of lives for your families and for our children.
Thank you, Magnolia and Dana-Farber. I'm Ellen Cross, a current Family Aid board member and former board chair of the Family to Family Project. The Family to Family Project was formed nearly 35 years ago by Katie and Paul Buttonwieser and a group of like-minded families who realized that modest, direct grants to families teetering on the brink of eviction could quickly prevent their spiral into homelessness. That realization spawned a movement that provided millions of dollars of direct support to the neediest children and adults in our community. Realizing a common mission to prevent homelessness, Family to Family and Family Aid merged 5 years ago to quell a rising tide of child and family homelessness. Today, Katie and Paul's vision continues at Family Aid as families with means continue to step forward to directly help Boston's poorest families survive and thrive. In celebration of Family to Family's nearly 35 years of support to thousands of families, and to set the stage for our first ever Family to Family Award, we have asked Katie and Paul to share some reflections on their decades-long mission to serve and support others in need.
The evolution of our own organization, first of all, we picked up a name, which was the Family to Family Project, and that emphasized that what we really wanted to do was to send a message to families who were experiencing homelessness that they were not alone. One of the things we were very aware of is that if any of us ever became homeless, we would just make a phone call and we would know a lot of people who would help us. And we were very, very concerned about these families who had nobody to call. And so Family to Family really started as somebody to call for these families in a way. We were particularly interested in families because we were very concerned about children and the plight that they were experiencing. And also we had the impression, which I think has been borne out, that the major immediate cause of families becoming homeless was economic. And that was something we felt we could address. A lot of people in those days and still to this day say, oh, I'd love to do something about people who are experiencing homelessness, but I don't know how I would myself do it. And this was really a way of doing it.
I remember one family, they were living in a motel. They owed $800 of unpaid rent, and they would have just gone on living in this motel when a small grant like that moved the whole thing forward. Or families who were housed but that lived in a place with no public transportation in their new home to get them to a job, a secondhand car, appliances, just very basic things that we take for granted.
One of the things that we were concerned about from the very beginning was the quality of life for these children. Mm-hmm. Obviously, becoming homeless is a grim it's a grim step and it's a grim existence. And we were very, very concerned about children going through significant periods of time without joy in their lives. And I remember very early, we had a request from one of the agencies we were working with that one of the small girls, I think she was 7 or 8 years old, was just dying to take ballet lessons. And although I suspect that might not be a line item in many agencies, we thought this was fantastic. We provided a grant for her to get ballet lessons, and it really transformed her life and our lives, I may say, in feeling that for something that we of the housed community and the fortunate community take for granted is something that children who are experiencing poverty as well as homelessness don't have. We've continued on this path, and during the pandemic, we're very happy to be able to provide for these children having something during this grim period that they could take pleasure in, that they could even have joy in.
Thinking about the courage these families had to go through what they went through, and the resiliency, and I think that we could help enhance those qualities by reducing some of the stress in their lives and supporting parents in every way possible through all the resources that we could help them access, particularly the stability of of being able to stay in one place and not have to be worrying day in, day out about becoming homeless again.
Thank you so much, Paul and Katie, for your inspiring vision for the Family to Family Project and for your continuing commitment to family aid. To honor the legacy of the Family to Family Project, we've created the Family to Family Award to recognize the continuing efforts of families who step up to support other families in need. This evening, it gives me great pleasure to present this award to the Gergen family, the father-daughter team of Dr. Catherine Gergen Barnett and David Gergen. Catherine is the Vice Chair of Primary Care Innovation and Transformation in the Department of Family Medicine at Boston Medical Center. She is also an Associate Professor at Boston University Medical School and a Fellow at BU's Institute for Health System Innovation and Policy. Catherine's career has focused on improving the health and wellness of urban communities. She regularly speaks and writes about homelessness and served as a key advisor to Family Aid in its successful efforts to increase COVID vaccinations among homeless families. David is currently a senior political analyst at CNN and the founding director of the Center for Public Leadership at the Harvard Kennedy School, where he is a professor of public service. His work at the Kennedy School includes training future public leaders to address the most pressing issues of the day. Child poverty and homelessness certainly qualify, and Catherine and David have been longtime advocates of policies and practices to end both. They also demonstrate that leadership and community service are shared values in their family, just like Katie and Paul's. For their demonstrated commitment to helping families in need, we present Catherine and David with our inaugural Family to Family Award. Thank you both for your work on behalf of the children and parents we serve.
Thank you so much. We are so honored. I'm so honored to be here with my father to receive this Family to Family Award. I will just say that as a physician at Boston Medical Center, I actually am a family medicine physician, so I see a lot of the connection between health and homelessness, but I also really see the silent epidemic of homelessness that we see in families and the impact on families. And I've been so touched by the work that Family Aid does every day in terms of both preventing homelessness and working with families on emergency shelter when they need it. And more importantly, thinking about the long-term strategy of preventing homelessness in future generations so that we can break the cycle. And I will also say that it is a real honor to be here with my father and the family sort of value of service that you instilled upon me and in me, and just really grateful.
How many years you've been doing this now? 8 or 9 years. You're interested in homelessness.
Yeah. Well, I've actually been at Boston Medical Center, believe it or not, for more than that, nearly 15 to 16 years.
Wow, because that went back to your residency.
Correct.
Good.
Yeah.
No, it's been really interesting because, the credit here in the family really goes to Catherine, obviously, but she brings back tales of what she's seen, and she writes in the Globe. She's on the radio a lot. She's on TV more than I am, which actually is sort of a problem. But no, but she's been terrific, and we are so honored to be part of this. Hearing that some of you who are here tonight, I must say this is we speak for everyone, I hope, in accepting this award, because so many of you in the room are listening in by Zoom. You've really done the hard work. And so we're delighted to be here. Our family's been committed to this. I must say that coming out of the pandemic, I think we should be deeply concerned about the direction we're taking. In some ways, homelessness is getting worse, not better. And despite all the efforts and the progress that has been made with individual people who are homeless, we still have a lot of work to do. Unfortunately, there are good people in this room. There are people in this movement who care. And I think that many of us would find one of our greatest satisfactions in life would be to see all Americans have an equal opportunity, not just some of us.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And thank you for the work that you do, Family Aid, and thank you for everybody who's here that will continue to contribute to Family Aid and to the important work of future generations to end homelessness.
Congratulations, Catherine and David. Family Aid couldn't be prouder to have you as partners in this work. Through its many partnerships, Family Aid has been able to reach and support more than twice the number of struggling children and parents that it had before the pandemic. Families' success in getting back up on their feet, despite significant hurdles, is due in large part to the hard work of Family Aid's credentialed, skilled, and compassionate staff, many of whom have experienced poverty or homelessness themselves. Here are some of their inspirational stories.
This might sound a little cliche, but I work in social services because it's my calling. I do feel like I was placed in this world to serve my community and the people in need. I have been working with Family Aid for 4 years now. Seeing the kids smiling once they move into their apartment and having their own rooms, you can't trade that smile that you see in that kid's face when they see like, oh mom, is this for me? It's like your job is all the stress that you go through with the family trying to get them where they are is like all worth it.
Oh, I love the fact that I help make a difference in people's lives. Whether it's a small impact or big impact, just being able to make a difference in someone's life is just a true passion to me. You know, I know what it's like being in a shelter. I know what it's like being homeless. I know what it's like living in subsidized housing. I know what it's like being a single parent. As a person not having a lot of family support myself and having to find out on my own, I know how difficult that is. And if I can be supportive to the families that I work with in my career, whether it's individual families, children, then I want to provide that support to them because I know what that feeling is like too.
So I was that kid in shelter, and I remember just not liking being in shelter because I was sharing a room with my mom and my 3 other siblings in a congregate shelter, which is you're sharing a kitchen and a bathroom with other families as well. And I remember telling my parents, my mom at the time, just, when are we going home? When are we going home? And it felt like a scary movie, an ongoing scary movie forever and ever and ever. And I felt like I was never waking up from a bad dream. My experience as a kid in shelter definitely wants me to give more than 100% to my families and their children because I know what it feels to be in their shoes. And I would like for those kids to feel how I felt as a kid. So if I'm able to help them move out of shelter or find a different placement for them that's best suitable for the family, I'm gonna go above and beyond just to make sure they get that opportunity.
I hope that we are able to get all of these kids a home, all of these families a home, because there's a lot of issues that a lot of families can't address because they don't have a home. Families need a home. These children need a home. They need stability, you know, and having stability and having a home, it can help families address so many other issues that they have.
I just remember being a kid in shelter and it wasn't the best for me. And seeing that, although it was a difficult time for my parents and myself definitely growing up, anything is possible. Because look where I am now, serving kids just like I was when I was a little kid in shelter. Again, is that smile when you see the family happy that they received a voucher or able to move into their own apartment now. It's a feeling like you're like, wow, I'm doing a good deed.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Costello, a board member of Family Aid. Thank you for joining us this evening. Wasn't it wonderful to hear our Family Aid staff? They are the front line, caring for our homeless children. They bring their own everyday experience to bear as a powerful tool to help end child homelessness. They understand better than most the impact that Family Aid brings toward rerouting a child to a better future. Thousands of children and parents in the greater Boston area teeter on the edge of homelessness. At this very moment, they live in cars, they're doubled up in crowded apartments, and they show up looking in shelters in our emergency room. All homeless children and families deserve the same opportunities. They deserve the same opportunities available to our own children, grandchildren, and all children in our lives. Imagine them without a place to sleep tonight. Please think about the children in our care and those in need that have yet to be reached by us. Think about the positive impact you can make for thousands of children and parents who need your support tonight. Think about how we have the power to change the life of a family or a child with our support tonight. I'm here to ask for your help to join us with a very exciting challenge grant that we can meet together tonight. 2 committed donors have offered to help with our mission. For every dollar given by you, we will earn a matching dollar. 1 for 1, up to $50,000. That's a minimum of $100,000 for the families and children. Please, make a gift now and make sure we secure the full challenge grant. Tonight, we can all go to bed knowing that we reached out to those in need. What a wonderful feeling to embrace this evening. In order to give, please click the button in the upper right corner of the screen or text the word FUTURES to 53555. Both will take you to Family Aid Give page. Please do it right now. Every gift counts. Thank you again for joining us this evening and for your support.
It is my great honor to present the Family Aid Children's Champion Award to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley for her tireless advocacy supporting children experiencing poverty and homelessness. Elected to represent Massachusetts' 7th District in the U.S. House of Representatives, Congresswoman Pressley, like many in her district, has endured numerous hardships throughout her life. Because of her experiences, she has dedicated her work to creating changes in our federal policies that address the continued lived experiences of the poor. She has said that the people closest to the pain should be closest to the power, and that a diversity of voices in the political process is essential to making policies that benefit all Americans. Pressley's recently introduced Strong Support for Children Act, developed with input from Family Aid, will enable community organizations to mitigate the childhood trauma that accompanies poverty and homelessness. This is one of many legislative efforts by Congresswoman Pressley to address the disparities facing the underserved children in our communities. The Children's Champion Award represents Family Aid's 2-generation approach to end homelessness. With an emphasis on the whole family and on mitigating the trauma experienced by children, we are working daily with parents to build healthy and strong foundations for their children's futures. Given our shared goals and purpose, I am delighted to present our annual Children's Champion Award to Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
Hello, everyone. I wish we could all be together in person, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you in virtual community. And I want to just say how humbled I am to join my fellow awardees in tonight's virtual program. And I want to congratulate Dr. Catherine Gergen Barnett, David Gergen, and the entire Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for their work on behalf of our young people. This is a full circle moment to me in many ways. I remember my first run for the Boston City Council in 2009 and being asked, well, how would I combat the achievement gap? And I said I was going to prevent, mitigate, and treat trauma, childhood trauma. And people just didn't get it. And if they did get it, they weren't sure that that work was really the work of municipal government. But I stayed the course and was very heartened to find in that first election that there were many people who agreed with me that combating, mitigating, and treating trauma is in fact the work of municipal government. And so to begin that work on the municipal level at the micro, and now to have the honor of doing this in the macro on the federal level has been incredible. And one of the things that I'm proudest of is having convened the first congressional hearing. It might be true for all committees, but it was certainly true for the Congressional Oversight Committee to have convened a hearing on childhood trauma. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I needed to shine a light on this. Childhood trauma is only growing. And it's only growing because the best gift that you can give any child is a stable adult. And so many of our families, so many of the adults in the lives of our children have been destabilized. And whether you're talking about traumatic, disruptive life events like growing poverty, food insecurity, displacement, being unhoused, fear of deportation, or being exposed to domestic violence, community-based violence. Our children are just managing so much. We've got to do everything possible to defend their childhood. You're only a child once. And so many of these challenges, particularly in the midst of a global pandemic and with a pandemic-induced recession, it just forced our children to adultify so early. So Family Aid, I want to say thank you to you for the work that you do. We have got to defend the childhood of our children, do everything to support the stabilization and the holistic health, not only of them as an individual, but their families and the broader community, so that they can be fully functioning, contributing, happy, joyful, positively contributing adults. And Lord knows we certainly do need them. So thank you, Family Aid, for the role that you play. I know it has been said many times before that education is life's great equalizer. And that may be true, but one thing is certain, family is life's great stabilizer. And so Family Aid, thank you for all that you're doing to ensure that our families are more stable. We know that housing is a fundamental human right and is so critical. It's a social determinant of health, social economic mobility. I believe everyone deserves to have more than shelter. They deserve to have a home. So thank you for making that possible. And thank you for the honor of this award. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Congresswoman Presley. So far tonight, we have heard from national leaders, leading philanthropists, medical experts, and the frontline staff who are making a difference for hundreds of families struggling with poverty and homelessness. But perhaps the most important voice for us to hear are those of the children connected to Family Aid, whose joy, hopes, and dreams remind us of why we're here to help other children who tonight have no place to call home.
My mom helps people. She is also the best mom I can ever have.
For work, my mom, she helps families and kids who don't have homes.
I like that my mom helps the homeless. She helps people not to let their homes get away. If their homes were away, then they would be homeless. I want to be a pet groomer.
How come?
Because I love all types of pets. There's 3 things. A scientist, a tattoo artist, and a guitarist. I would like to make the world kinder because some people are not very kind to others. If I could change the world, I would make sure everybody would have enough food.
Something I would change about the world is that everyone has a house, just a house to live in.
So more people can for more people to get food and water and stuff that they need to stay healthy.
I think the best part about having a home is that you feel safe and know that since you're in your house, that nothing can really happen to you. Something I've learned from my mom about homelessness is that kind of a lot more people than you think are homeless. Like sometimes you don't know how many people actually don't have homes.
I wouldn't like that.
How come?
Because I can't really live without a home. I mean, like, you would have to like sleep on the sidewalk or something that's not soft. I think all kids need a home. Because if it's not comfortable, you can't sleep sometimes. Sometimes if it's not comfortable, you just can't sleep. It hurts. Now that you mention it, I want to be a case manager because my mommy is, and I want to help people so they can have their homes back.
I'm John Worrall, Chair of the Family Aid Board of Directors. My family and I have been longtime supporters of the agency because we believe, as I'm sure you do too, that every child deserves a place to call home and a bright and a better future. As you've heard tonight, Family Aid is working to make that happen for thousands of children. Through the efforts of our dedicated staff and the commitment of compassionate supporters like you, there can be an end to the crisis of child homelessness. And your support of Family Aid is critical. For perspective, a single mom supporting her 2 kids needs to earn over $50 an hour to pay for housing, daycare, food, healthcare, and all the other necessities of life here in Boston. And as I said, this is urgent. We need your continued support now for the 4,000 children and parents in our care tonight and for the 5,000 we expect to support this coming year. Support that will help keep families in their homes, provide emergency shelter for those who have no other options, and provide the expert help that children and parents need to break the cycle of poverty. And your donation can go twice as far if you donate now, because 2 of our generous donors have committed to match up to $50,000 of your donations tonight. So on behalf of all of the children in our care, please click on the donate button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, or text the word FUTURES to 53555 on your phone. Please do it now. Your gift will help redirect the lives of children in our care so they can look forward to a better future. Thank you again for your support, and thank you for being with us tonight. Let's end child homelessness together. Good night.